Hi, this is the first time that I've ever used this opportunity to do a YouTube live. I was just on the Punished for Protecting with Francesca Amato, and if you are looking to get your child back from the corrupt system of the Child Protection Services and Family Court, then definitely go and talk to her about what she can do to help you accomplish that goal. So on her show, we were talking about corrupt Dr. Nathan today, and the victims, as well as myself, to what this family court system and protection services has done to us criminally. There were some books that were put up on her screen of Thank You Daddy and Better Communication Amongst Friends, and I just figured I would try to read these books to you, regardless if you want to get a copy or you don't, because they're really, really powerful books. And I think that child psychologist, psychiatrist, counselor, um, anyone in the mental health field for adults or children could really appreciate these books. And it also goes to show you about how creative and how mindful mental stability that I have to be able to create these books. Now, Thank You Daddy, my son was here for before he was taken lawlessly from me. And Better Communication Amongst Friends was while my son was actually at the Connors abusive correctional facility, is what I like to say, because it's really a prison without bars. They abused my son. They neglected my son. They deprived him of meals. They gave him a black eye at, 8 years old. It was just a whole bunch of real bad stuff. So, anyways, I'm going to go on and read this real quick. So Thank You Daddy. It's a guided book of wisdom for a worth it daddy. And my son helped me make both these books. I was able to finish this book while my son was at Connors, the Better Communication Amongst Friends. So let's get into the actual story. Having a good daddy is very important to be blessed with. As my daddy, it's your responsibility to me to see to it that I, your boy, grow up to be a worth it man. Husband and daddy, if I choose to create an heir later in life responsibly when I'm ready. On the other hand, if I was your little girl, then it would be your responsibility to see to it that you're the right father figure that I see in my upbringing. Having a healthy male role model that respects women is important for me to see while I am growing up, so I choose to see that in other men, and thus I develop the skills to choose a great guy like you that has taught me how a man should love a woman. To love your child properly as a man, in my opinion, Daddy, you have to learn to love yourself fully first. You can learn how to love yourself by first learning to love God. If you love God, then you are loving yourself, which is God living within you. Until then, you don't really know what love is, and you will fail at loving anyone else fully, including me, sadly. Daddies are very important in a child's life because they give a glimpse to what the world looks like and trust and envision for what the world should look like in a healthy relationship, marriage, and family too, if they choose that when ready. Too often, grown males become a daddy too soon if they become a parent before they get out of the man who's still a child phase. They have work to do to become the kind of positive example their child needs to develop. Having the right people to emulate in their early lives, including especially the right role model, dad worth a daddy, helps each child become a most capable adult, the best version of themselves. If new upcoming daddies would just take the time to learn and be taught the right ways on what a worth a daddy looks like, then they would have the potential to be the best daddy in their heir. When they choose to implement the right teachings daily, they become their best true light selves. When you don't see your daddies being their best they can be to their heir daily. It's because they probably don't know how to be because their daddy wasn't there for them either. Or they just don't care. Either way, it's about me, daddy, not your convenience. So consider learning the right way to be because my positive upbringing and many future successes really matter. When you bring a child in this world, it's about them until they're grown. Your job as the right teacher, as daddy to me, isn't done until one of us passes on. Remember this, Daddy. As your child daddy, I look to you and mama first as examples to learn how to be successful and problem solve correctly in life, and then others that influence me, like other family members and my friends. I look at how you and mama handle or eliminate emotional and mental stresses of life. I look at how you treat others, which tells how you feel about yourself. It's about the positive example that you and mama show me by living your lives in a positive, ongoing way, first before I'm influenced by the rest, by the examples they show me. Mama nurtures me and teaches me many things I'm grateful for, but daddies play many important, influential roles in their child's life too. You are more important than you may realize, daddy, so lead me correctly ongoing daily. If I was your little girl and you weren't around to teach me how a man is supposed to love a woman, I'd probably go for any man's attention because I starved for yours. I'd probably get abused by many bad men in many ways because they weren't there to teach me right. Being your son, daddy, is equally important for you to teach me how to love a woman first, or woman right first, by you respecting mama. How you treat your own mama and other influential females in your life by example is how you're teaching me to treat women now and in future times. So you want to teach me right as your son, just as you want to teach me right if I was your little girl. Children teach you the mistakes you made in case you didn't learn them back when you were growing up. Children tend to follow in their parents' footsteps, unless something happens to change that. This following is why they say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's very important to always be conscious of what your own life's choices are, teaching me by your life's examples because it's a monkey see daddy, not monkey do. Remember, I'm always observing, watching, and learning from you, daddy. It's very important to heal from your own childhood traumas, so when you're grown, you don't implement that kind of pain into your own heir's life or into lives of others connecting with you when you're grown, daddy. Choose to speak professional or choose to seek professional help ongoing to help you learn how to heal yourself through your subconscious mind daily. In this, you will heal your body if it needs it also. Listen to people that have what you want and have been where you are. And most importantly, daddy, listen to your gut feeling. Know that everything will deceive you, but not every your gut feeling. In my opinion, it's because God lives in your gut. And you are made in his image, being one and the same. You can't go wrong, and your answers to all reside in you. You only have to ask the right questions to learn the answers. Consider this, daddy. There are many ways to deal with life's mental and emotional stresses. Consider healing yourself with these tools. Pure essential oils, positive audios, self-help books that are they're not cult-based. A lot of times self-help books will be cult-based. And so be careful of where you go with that. But taking out your challenges and then talking out your challenges, and then finding healthy solutions for you to heal you. Self-reflection, childhood memories, and upbringing with a professional, you can discover these techniques that suit your daily development and becoming and staying the best version of you. These healing tools for you will help you not get dragged down into the common unhealthy lifestyle many succumb to, such as drinking for drunk and using harmful drugs to numb their pain, which then hurts you and your loved ones. If you choose to make this life-altering for the worst decision, think about me and how your choice may affect me before you choose a direction in life moving forward, and you will choose right following your gut feeling every time. A good daddy takes the time to spend consistent time with their heir. I thank you, daddy, for doing just that with me. It takes a lot of patience to raise a child, and they say it takes a village too, so be willing to always be teachable and coachable, to be growing and evolving every day. When you stop your willingness to learn, then you stop your growing, and you then begin to decay. When you no longer have passion and a strong will to live, then your soul moves on to the other side. A good daddy allows their light to lead their way most of the time, and if need be, they know how to turn to their shadow side and use it right so others don't abuse them. Example, daddy, you don't love cancer. Instead, one would cut it out of them, or they would focus on gratitude to heal themselves so the cancer leaves their body and life faster. Another example in needing your shadow side to take over is not trusting someone again after they burned you if your gut feeling told you don't trust them moving forward. You may distance yourself from how much time you spend with them, if you spend any time with them anymore. You may choose to pray that they get right very soon, but you don't subject yourself to be further abused by their unhealthy lifestyle. Because they want you there doesn't mean it's healthy for you to stay in their black clouds so they aren't alone. Choices, daddy, choices, and making the right ones daily is key. Picking the right mentors to mimic is key, Daddy. Who you spend the most time with influences you. Choose positive mentors so you're always teaching me right. Your mentors should be positive leaders for those they are teaching by, who's teaching them by a positive example. A good daddy takes the time to teach their heir how to thrive in all aspects of life, and what they don't know, they learn so they can be the best teacher for their child daily. A good daddy takes the time to teach their heir how to always be a victor in appeared times of losing, including survival skills for emergency living. A good daddy teaches their child to deal with the worst and to fight through it coming out a winner. A good daddy teaches their heir how to catch their own food and how to live off the land, or find someone that knows how to teach them well. A good daddy is always encouraging their child to make healthy choices for their life and to think of all consequences before they act, in knowing that they need to be that positive example for their heir to learn from. Daddy, I want to thank you for being the kind of worth a daddy all children should be blessed with. I pray for those daddies to be like you very soon if they haven't chosen right by their child yet. I pray for those children to have that in the dad, a worth it one very soon. Daddy, I love you, and I am proud to call you my pause mentor, teacher, and friend. Thank you. The end. So I want to thank you for join me in that powerful book, because when I asked Landon, and this might not even be the right version that I just read you, I might have actually had, I know I have other versions, but when I asked Landon, my son, what does a worth it daddy look like to him? He was only 8 at the time telling me this. He said, one that chooses not to get drunk when they drink. And his dad, he has actually seen him be drunk quite a bit and be very violent in that perspective. So a child just gets to know these things through experiences that they have to be, forced into. I was forced by the Erie County Family Court judge to allow my son supervised visitations, and nobody would actually sit there and want to supervise for long because they were afraid because of his violent temper. So I put myself into the abuse further to protect my son. So it's interesting that the Dr. Nathanson live today that, Tiffany went through such trauma and torture by her ex. I went through a lot of it myself. And then I finally was able to get out safely. And then CPS came in again and eventually took my son. If they would have followed the law, it never would have happened. So now they're trying to call me delusional. And you can clearly see that I have a very great plan for what a worth it daddy looks like. If you had a boy versus a girl, and this really touches to the wholeness of what a father and a child's relationship really should look like. So I don't understand why these people think they're going to get away with lying and defamating my character and my son's, when you can clearly see the evidence is in the pudding. That this is a great book, and child psychologists could appreciate it, psychiatrists could appreciate it, any kind of mental health provider, counselor, school teacher, any kind of people that work with children and really care about the wholeness of a family. So I appreciate you being there for that book as well. My next book is called Better Communication Amongst Friends. And again, this is not the right version, but I'm going to read it. On the cover, it talks about empathy, and it says the ability to step into the shoes of another person, aiming to understand their feelings and perspectives, and to use that understanding to guide their actions. Okay. And it blows my mind, because when I mentioned that I am an empath at one point, they use that against me in court. They act like if you have feelings and you're not desensitized and a robot, you're a nobody, you're crazy. And you can clearly see that's a very powerful wording of the word empathy. So this book is a child's book as well. A lot of my books, they are child-based. People with disabilities, learning disabilities can appreciate them. People without disabilities can appreciate them. And me and my son wrote this starting before he got taken. And then when he was at Connors, he helped me to finish it. So this is that book. There was a Chuck and a beaver. They were friends. Oh, yeah, there was a meerkat, too. The Chuck gnawed on some trees. The beaver patted mud with his tail. The beaver liked to play more than work. The Chuck liked his life to be kept in order. Every time the Chuck tried to gnaw the tree, the beaver would smack his friend, the Chuck. The Chuck didn't think much about the beaver hitting him with his tail for a while. The Chuck ignored his friend, the beaver, thinking maybe he hit him by mistake, so he moved on. Their friend, the meerkat, dug holes. The meerkat fell in the hole because the beaver smacked him with his tail. The beaver smacked both the meerkat and the Chuck with his tail when they tried doing their chores. The beaver thought that maybe they'd stop and play with him. He wanted the Chuck and meerkat to give up trying to get their chores done. They kept being interrupted by their friend, the beaver. Smack, smack, smack. The beaver was mistaken. The Chuck and meerkat, instead of stopping to play with him, felt hurt both physically and emotionally. They were startled for a moment, but they kept at their chores. Both were thinking, why would he hit us with his tail? Why would he hit us with his tail? And was he trying to hurt us? They didn't communicate what they were feeling to the beaver. They kept working silently, and the three animals were not communicating healthily. The beaver, meerkat, and the Chuck were about to get a lesson on the differences between ineffective and effective communication. And this is something like, I know that I'm kind of talking a minute before I finish this book, but this is something I've been telling these people in this corrupt family court system, and including the outside CPS workers. You cannot talk to a person that has a learning disability like they are a parasite under the sun. You literally have to be able to have an effective communication with these people so they can understand where are you coming from, what are you saying, and how can we best understand each other so we can work together, because that's what we're supposed to do in order the common goal to return my son to me. And that's not what they do. I mean, the level of evidence that I have in witnesses, documentation alone is astronomical. And again, I already gave this worldwide to many people. So if something happens to me, you are responsible and you know who you are, because you're not getting away with it. They literally have this worldwide, this information, and they will publicly embarrass you until you stop corrupting families and you follow the law instead, and you stop stealing children for profit and power. So that is that. So the beaver, the meerkat, and the Chuck were about to get a lesson on the differences between ineffective and effective communication. It's important to tell others your feelings when you're feeling hurt by another and you express how you feel. They can change the way they treat you. Clear words of how you feel help others to empathize with you. They can base their future behaviors on how they would want others to treat them if they were in your shoes. Having empathy means to feel what others are feeling and understand the feelings of another. It's not the job of another to guess your feelings. It's not the job of another to guess how you're thinking. It's your job to effectively communicate with them. And even though that part's not in there, I'm saying so. So now it says it's your job to communicate your feelings by using your words and right body language too. So the meerkat, the Chuck, told the beaver that they felt hurt when he smacked them with his tail every time they did their chores. The beaver said, "My apologies to you, my friends. I was just trying to stop you from doing your chores because I wanted you to play with me." The Chuck and the meerkat said to the beaver, "And now we understand that your mind, you thought beating us with your tail would make us stop doing our chores and play with you." The meerkat looked up and said to the beaver and Chuck, "I wonder what humans think about communicating their feelings, helping get their needs met. Would that be more effective?" So you need to communicate your feelings is what they're explaining, because that is how you get your needs met. You speak your words. I always tell my son, speak your truth, speak your words, because if he sits there and he lets fear take over his words and his truth, then he's going to continually be abused by these corrupt people that are in this forced foster care system, because he's too afraid that they're going to punish him if he doesn't silence his voice. But your abusers count on you to sit there and silence your voice, and they try to punish you for speaking your truth, because then it exposes that narcissist, for example, or any other type of labeled abuser, and they can't stand it. So speak your truth, and speak it loud, and speak it everywhere. And I don't care who tells you don't do it. It is your opportunity to speak your truth so you are heard and you are respected. And one day, someday, soon, God, I hope so, very soon, that you will actually get your rights respected. And this whole court, family court, garbage, freaking child trafficking business agency industry will be completely dead and gone by then. And I hope it's very soon. And I mean it that way, like, when you say buried, I don't mean physically kill these people. I literally mean that the system is no longer in business. And again, this is another problem people have with talking to people and communicating and being on this planet called Earth, is that everyone has a different perception on what they think certain words mean and different expressions mean. And different people along the way have decided that they have different meanings. And so if you don't ask people what they actually mean, you're assuming something where you make an ass out of yourself and others because you're not getting the facts. Talk to people, learn how to talk to people, and stop texting everybody and being so confused you have no idea what people are saying, because you can't understand people's tone when you're texting, for example. But you can understand through a Zoom video call. You can understand from a Facebook call. You can understand from a phone call. And it's always better if you can see the person if you can, so you can be able to really feel like you're one with that human. Energetically, you can feel that person emotions sometimes by watching their body language and their expressions when they're talking. So this is what the meerkat and the other two animals are learning, is effective communication amongst each other. And so just assuming that they think they know what is going on with the other, and then they're getting in trouble because they're assuming when they should be asking questions to get to the answers. So the meerkat looked up and said to the beaver and Chuck, "I wonder what humans think about communicating their feelings, helping get their needs met. Would that be more effective?" So I apologize that I had to reiterate that. But this is important stuff. This is the problem we're having with society. Is this just here? Then just some children walk by. When they got close enough, they asked the children what they thought about communicating their feelings to their friends. The children thought about it. Readers and listeners, are you thinking about it too? One of the children, Lan, said, "This is what my son said. A bad friend is mean and a good friend is nice. A nice friend helps do the laundry and a bad friend will refuse to help you do your homework." That's what my son said when he helped me write this book. Because I asked him, I said, "Well, what's the difference between a good friend and a bad friend, Landon?" And that's what he said to me. And then it says, "How would you let someone know if you were sad or happy?" Quarreled Chuck. I can't pronounce this word. I apologize. It's Quered. And I asked Landon the same question here, and this is what he said. He said, "I might cry if I was sad," Lan added. Chuck questioned, "But sometimes tears are happy. How could I know how you felt?" So I asked my son this again. How would you know, or how would you let someone know you were sad tears versus happy tears? And he said, "So I say I'm sad. Please leave me alone right now," Lan clarified, meaning that he would let you know that he's sad, and so therefore if he's sad, he's not happy and crying his tears, because some tears are happy. If you're at a wedding, you might cry because you're happy for that beautiful couple to have found each other. If you're sad and crying sad tears, it's because I'm destroyed every day that my kid was unlawfully taken from me, because the system don't follow the rules that protect me and my son's rights to be together and to raise my son how I see fit, not how they see fit. One of the other children, Dean offered, "My needs can be best met when I talk with my friends if I let them know clearly how I feel." That is clear communication, Marley emphasized. Meerkat asked again, how would somebody know if you were happy? So I asked my son again that question. I said, well, how would you know? How would somebody know if you're happy? And he goes, you smile and say, I'm having a good day today, Lan replied as he and the other children ran along ahead to play tag. Chuck said, those children agree with us. I guess we have the same viewpoint on communication. Meerkat questioned, did you think that if you bullied us, we just cower to you because we are too weak to stand up to you, Beaver, just because we're friends? Did you think, Beaver, that by trying to intimidate us with your flapping tail that we'd want to continue our friendship with you? Asked Meerkat. Yes, added Chuck. What did you really think what would happen if you kept hitting us with your tail, Beaver? The beaver was in awe. He said, I thought that you just give me my way and you would stop doing your chores. I thought you would just decide to play with me instead. I thought you would find me hitting you with my tail to be a joke and get back at me playfully. Well, see, that's the problem with this, conversation with these animals, because Beaver just assumed that they would just magically know what he was thinking or feeling, or what his intentions for him hitting him with with his tail would be. And that's the question, because most people will assume that they think they know what someone's intention is before they even ask the question. And these guys were wondering, so you bullying us, you just thought you'd get your way because we're weak and we would just basically let you step all over us? And the beaver basically said, yeah, but he didn't intentionally mean to be a bully, and that's the difference. But see, these people that are in the system of family court and outside the CPS system, the corrupt that is everywhere in America, they intentionally try to destroy families because they intentionally don't follow laws. And when you throw it in their face what the laws are, they still ignore you. It's literally insane that you have to deal with these people and be able to be a parent because they don't follow the laws that protect you to take care of your child the way you feel that is best, the way the law says that you're allowed to take care of your child. And that's the problem. And this is a great book to be able to talk about, because this is what's wrong with America. And this is what these children are learning through reading my books on what you're supposed to communicate like. Because it's effective, because it needs to be consistent, it needs to be clear, it needs to be detailed, it needs to be specific. And with people with learning disabilities, you have to emphasize specifics, details, examples, so they understand what exactly are you saying, because they don't want to assume that they think they know what you're saying. They want to know that they know what you're saying, because they asked enough questions to get to the answer. And that's the point. So these kids in my book reading this, the family in this book that are reading this, whoever's reading this are getting this message very clearly through what I'm saying, in my opinion. And these animals are now getting the understanding finally on how ineffective and effective communication can truly affect someone's life. It can affect friendships. It can affect relationships. Romantic relationships, when you get to that point sometime, when you think clearly and healthily about what kind of life goals do you want for yourself and your family. So then it says, the thoughts of your hurt feelings never crossed my mind. I didn't think that you guys might not want to be my friend anymore, or that you guys would be hurt emotionally by my tail smacking choice. I acted impulsively. I don't think my plan through and acted too quickly. It is always better to stop, relax, and think. I learned that in a board game, but forgot to apply it. Remember that game? Maybe we can play it another day. That would make me happy. Well, this is the game, Stop, Relax, and Think, that I was talking about on Fran's show with Dr. Nathanson, that I got for my son when he was diagnosed with ADHD before he was taken from me. And I was dealing with him through a holistic medical doctor instead of a pharmaceutical Western medicine doctor, which is, again, my choice, being his sole parent provider. But this is a really great game because this is good for kids with ADHD. And with kids with ADHD, they have impulsivity issues. I actually was diagnosed with ADHD when I was a child, and I played this exact game with my counselor, Linda Benson, at Horton's Counselor in Springville. And so therefore, I put this in my book because I wanted people to understand that this is a great family game for kids to express their feelings, to understand how to effectively communicate, to be able to have a whole happy family with these type of tools that up until just a couple years ago, you couldn't get this game unless you were a counselor. And I told Dr. Nathanson this, and he said, "Oh, I know what that game is." So the fact that I, a normal mother, would pick up a game like this, and at the time I really had to get this on eBay, and that's how I got it, because you couldn't get this game unless you were a counselor. He's trying to discredit me because saying that I have limited parenting skills. First of all, what is your definition of good parenting skills? When you allow your wife to have your child, your daughter that just graduated, have her mouth on a beer bottle. What kind of parenting skills should you really assess when you can't even get your own family's life in order in a positive, healthy manner for your own children? And if this was before your child, if your child was now this age and that happened, you would have your kids taken away from you, or the system would let you slide because you're a medical doctor, which is disgusting. And I hope you lose your license very soon. Just alone from the live of the public embarrassment and the proof of, which will be more coming out about you, that you medically frauded me, you medically frauded many others by your parenting skills assessment paid by the court, that you then back them up instead of allowed the truth to show that you really gave a shit about real children and their safety and well-being. So then it says, "I apologize for the hurt emotions I may have caused you, my friends. I didn't think my bad choice would ruin our friendship either. I guess correct communication, thinking things outright, is best to do before taking action steps. Please, Meerkat and Chuck, forgive me, for I'm just a beaver and I hope to still be a friend. I didn't intentionally try and hurt your feelings. I didn't mean to hurt you truly. Please forgive me." The Meerkat and Chuck paused and thought for a moment of everything the beaver said. They tried to sit with all of this for a minute. Before you act, oh, no, I'm sorry, that's not it. After a while, thinking through this, they decided to forgive their friend. After their reflection, the Meerkat and the Chuck said, "Wow, yes, what good communication we have now. Part of good communication is not assuming someone's feelings, but trying to put yourself in another's shoes. Because you've explained to us your feelings and desires, we can empathize. We can understand the feelings you shared with us. Before you act, you ask yourself what the consequence of this action step could lead me to. For example, if we each weigh the positives and the negatives before we act, our actions will more accurately help us reach our life goals. For example, we can ask ourselves questions like, are there more positives? Can you change the negatives into positives by fixing them? Or do you want to choose another situation or relationship which already has more positives? In my situation, before my son got taken, I was an advocate for people that were getting their kids medically kidnapped because they refused to give them vaccines. And again, that's their medical choice as their parent. And it's against the law to have the state come in and decide that choice for them, okay? Well, the reason why I felt to take that step and to write a book that actually helped to support what was really going on and expose this corruption, I never thought they wouldn't follow the law when it came to me. I literally didn't understand that medical kidnapping is them not following the law and forcing them to get these vaccines. I guess I really didn't think it through on what that meant. And the reason why I'm still fighting today for my son and all of the corruption that's happened is because my son, our rights respected, the law respected, is part of fighting for my son to come home. It is not one or the other. It is tied to both. And when they act like, oh, Dr. Nathan, oh, Jodi is more concerned about breaking the system than getting her kid back and doing what needs to be done to help her, get her kid back. That's not logical. It literally is tied to both. You don't respect my rights. You don't respect my sons. You don't follow the law. How am I getting my kid back? By sitting there and kissing your ass because you think you're in a set of authority, that you have a control over my life like God? No, I don't think so. There may be certain pieces I have to bend to, but I should not have to bend to your will and everything you want me to do when you are not my ruler, you are not my keeper, and you are not my authority. Okay? I didn't break the law, so therefore you are not authority over me. And that's what you don't get, Erie County. You don't understand that I didn't break the law, and therefore you are not of authority over me. I don't care if you force me into your court because you're threatening if I don't come there, I'm going to get arrested. That is also criminal. Because again, I didn't break the law. If you followed the law, if you protected my son in the forced foster care system that you put him in, all of the crimes that you've committed even since then, the fact that my son had a black eye at 8 years old because you thought that it was more important to put him in a Connors Correctional Facility than to be with me and my mother, you would have got that point. But you don't look into anything. It's like, oh, money, money, money. I'm just going to throw him in the foster care system because I'm going to get paid more money. And I'm not a stupid person. I know this is true, okay? And it's not a delusional thing. It's a worldwide thing, okay? We all can't be crazy. How about we give you a mental health evaluation and see what yours says, okay? Let's sit there and dig into your stuff and see how you do. Let's sit there and take your family and see if you're a happy, smurf-go-lucky person afterwards. Because it's not logical or sane to be a happy-go-lucky, la-la person when your family is being destroyed before your eyes because someone of a set authority doesn't want to follow the law that protects those people and their family to be able to be together without your abuse of power and said authority. So let's go on here, okay? So, for example, we asked the questions, are there more positives? Can you change the negatives and the positives by fixing them? Or do you want to change the other situation, relationship that there is more positives? Ask oneself, how many consequences could come from this action step if I take it? Could I hurt someone's feelings? Ask yourself, how would I want to be treated if someone were to take this action with me? In other words, how would I feel if I got smacked in the head with a beaver tail? This asking yourself questions method is a great way to communicate with yourself and then with others after you know your own feelings. You can't treat everyone alike. Consider their situation. Be in their shoes means just that. If you grew up in their situation, would you feel as you feel having grown up in your situation? Maybe not. So you can empathize, recognize, and understand their feelings, where they're poor, hungry, abused, grieving. Were they happy, celebrating, wealthy, lonely, or spiritual? Understand their experiences can help you decide on how to act with them. Always be true to yourself, however. Choose friends that share your values and communicate well with you. Beaver added, God will carry you when you no one else can. If you value that statement, choose actions and friends that support it and your whole value system, your divine purpose. Choosing actions and friends that support your value system means that you can have integrity. That is, you choose to do the right thing when no one is looking. Your friends will likely have integrity too. I remember that, Lan told me, Meerkat stated. Integrity is doing the right thing when no one is looking. That's something I learned from my mama, Jodi Graesser. Beaver agreed that integrity statement here applies here. We all share the values of thinking before we act, considering another's feelings and expanding our empathy towards others through good communication. That means we can be good friends. The meerkat, the chuck, and the beaver were so impressed because they learned about what proper communication looks like and what the wrong communication may look like too. So now the meerkat, the chuckin were a little more curious about something about the beaver. They asked Beaver, hey, why didn't you want us to do our chores anyway? And why aren't you doing your chores if you don't mind us asking? The beaver said, I don't feel comfortable doing my chores alone. It's boring to do chores too. The meerkat and the chuck said to the beaver, Beaver, how about if we lend our hands to one another and help the three of us get our chores done faster with teamwork? The beaver said, wow, thank you. Okay, now what about the boring part? The meerkat and the chuck suggested, Beaver, we can sing while we work, and this way we'll get our chores done quickly. With extra hands, we'll be doing our work faster, more easily, and also have fun singing. So it'll be like we aren't really working, but instead we'll be having fun while being productive, summarized Beaver. Then Beaver exclaimed, wow, I'm loving this healthy communication plan, and I'm so grateful to have true friends to help me be my best me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Meerkat and Chuck said, you're welcome, Beaver. Thank you for taking the time to explain why you hit us with your tail and that you weren't trying to hurt us emotionally either. We appreciate your willingness to learn, grow, be teachable and coachable. You were open to new and better ways of seeing others because you were willing to see others if you were in their shoes. In this way, you can know others a little more deeply because you walked in their shoes. You know, Chuck and I also learned these things. I'm sure glad we talked about communication and the difference between healthy and unhealthy communication. The beaver said, today has been a great day after all. I'm getting my chores done with my friends' help. I'm enjoying getting my chores done while singing too. I also learned the right communication skills versus improper communication skills. I can teach such communication skills to many. I hope they will turn around and implement the same deep communication in their lives. In the sharing of communication skills, I can lead by being the right example. Others' lives will be improved like ours were by successful communication. The beaver said, today I choose them with a yay, 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 in celebration for all the greatness that we accomplished together. In fact, let's wear our Yay Jumpers t-shirts to celebrate. The end. And that's the point, guys, is that this is a really great book. This is a really great book. You can't be delusional, in my opinion, and have this kind of stuff. You can't be mentally incompetent to take care of your kid and write these kind of psychological, very healthy-minded books. And the system needs to be abolished, and the people that are getting paid need to be immediately arrested for stealing our children for profit and power. And I hope that you go through the live that we just did today on Dr. David Nathanson, the corruption and the family court and the CPS system. And that you reach out to Fran if you were a victim of Dr. Nathanson as well, and or any of the other people mentioned in that stream that you did not hear about, including Judge Sharon Lavallo, Vera A. Venkova, Madison Ozella Esquire. And these are just to name a few, because these are corrupt people that should not be in business to decide the welfare of a child, because they, in fact, are not mentally stable themselves, and their actions prove that otherwise, in my case alone. And Dr. Nathanson should be fired immediately for allowing that his own family he can't take care of and show of a healthy descent to be a parental skills assessor in a professional clinician environment to people he don't know, people he don't care about knowing, people of evidence he doesn't care about knowing, witnesses, he doesn't follow the law. None of these people that follow the law should be literally allowed to live on planet Earth. They should have to move to Mars, in my opinion, okay? And so that's it today. And I hope you guys, liked my first time YouTube video live, because it really was my first time. I literally just wung it. And I hope that you guys liked it. And I hope that you think about what I said when you're talking to people. Really think about it. Am I effectively communicating with this person? And if not, how can I get them to effectively communicate with me? And you will save yourself possibly and hopefully less problems with other people that are sane like you, that want to effectively communicate with you too. They want to work and solve problems out with you instead of destroy you, because good people don't try to destroy people on purpose. Especially if they never did anything wrong to them. So hang tight, do the best you can. I hope that you guys enjoyed my live for the first time, and I look forward to having another one with you soon. Thank you very much, and have a blessed day.